Once it's cooled down, then we're going to have a slice each of this yummy, tasty pumpkin pie. Hey, hands off! Hands off! No, it's not ready yet.
Cake.
Do you fancy something sweetie, but just don't fancy the calories? Well, stay tuned, because in today's episode of Dr. Nora, I take you through my very simple pumpkin pie recipe that is vegan friendly and suitable for those with an egg allergy. As you can see on my table, there are only 4 ingredients. Now, there is one other ingredient I'll be using, and that is milk. Now, this could be regular milk if you're not vegan, or it may be vegan-friendly milk, such as oat milk or almond milk if you wish. But as you can see, there is not a lot of stuff that goes into this pumpkin pie recipe, and I tell you, it's going to taste bellissimo. Often when I'm walking down the shops and supermarkets, I sometimes think about having a cake or a piece of chocolate cake or something really sweet, but I look at the back of the ingredients and I think, oh my goodness, these things I just cannot understand them. There's full of emulsifiers, preservatives, flavorings, etc., etc. And there are so many things in there that just simply are not healthy. And many of these substances can have long-term side effects on our health. So in this video, I'll be demonstrating to you guys how I make my healthier, low-calorie pumpkin pie recipe. Just in time for Halloween. First up for this recipe, you will need some pumpkin. Now, I actually carved out our pumpkin for Halloween, and I was left with all these beautiful remnants of the flesh inside the pumpkin, and all I did was pop it in the freezer. I've taken it out of the freezer, now it's defrosting, and I'll be using it in my pumpkin pie recipe. Few facts about pumpkins: they are packed with antioxidants, minerals, vitamins, all these beautiful things that are great for our health. One of these vitamins is vitamin A. Vitamin A is really important for our health and our well-being. In fact, it's responsible for keeping our skin nice and healthy, and it's also great for our eyes as well. Pumpkin also contains vitamin C, which, as we know, is good for our immune system, so it helps to fight off any bacteria or any infections that we might be having. It also is packed with fibre, which is good for our tummies, and it also has some potassium in it as well, which is great for our heart too, obviously in moderation. Now, of course, I'm saying that you don't want to have too much pumpkin, although it is really low in calories. Just to say, it's only got 26 calories per 100 grams, which is like so low. But nevertheless, you don't want to have too much of this, because let's face it, too much of a good thing may be bad, and sometimes that can cause some negative impact on our health. So just be mindful of how much pumpkin you are consuming. In this recipe, I'll be using just about 700 grams of pumpkin, making it just under 200 calories. So that is pretty good going. Second up, I've got some corn flour. This is going to be useful as an alternative for eggs. So for example, if you've got a toddler that can't eat eggs, or if you're vegan and you don't want to eat eggs, then this is a great substitute for you. I'll be using a really small quantity of this. In fact, only 1 tablespoon of corn flour, and this is also gluten-free as well. So great if you have got a gluten allergy, because we can use some corn flour. The idea of the corn flour is that it will thicken up my pumpkin puree to make it nice and thick in consistency. What do we have here? Oh my goodness me. I have got an indulgent maple syrup. So this will help to give you a little bit of sweetness to your pumpkin pie. Now, naturally, if you don't want to use any maple syrup, you can use sugar. However, the calories will be slightly higher. Just some fun facts about maple syrup. Maple syrup actually comes from the sap of the maple tree. So it's extracted from the tree trunk of the tree, which I think is quite fascinating. About 80% of the world supply of maple syrup does come from Canada. It is so important that if you are choosing some maple syrup in your supermarket, to go for something that actually is the real deal, because there are so many maple syrups out there that may be watered down, they may have some additive, and they may not be as true to its natural form as it should be. This is direct from Canada, so this is pure Canadian maple syrup, which is going to taste lovely, I'm sure. And there's actually different grades of maple syrup. The darker the maple syrup, the better it is to be used in baking, whereas lighter maple syrup tends to be used on pancakes, for example. The reason I'm using maple syrup over sugar, for example, is that it has got some slightly more nutritional benefits than sugar does. In fact, it does contain a little bit of calcium, a little bit of zinc, iron, and manganese as well. So it is a slightly healthier alternative to sugar. Of course, in saying that, we all know that maple syrup is super sweet, and so if you are consuming a lot of this, then certainly it's not going to do too well for your tummy or those calorie counting. So this is going to be used in a very small quantity, just to add a little bit of sweetness to my pumpkin pie. Well, no pumpkin pie would be complete without some cinnamon, and cinnamon is a beautiful spice that just smells exquisite. It really reminds you of like fall or winter when you have a pumpkin spice latte. It usually contains cinnamon in it, and cinnamon is packed with lots of antioxidants and has anti-inflammatory effects as well. So this is a really good addition to my pumpkin pie recipe. The last ingredient that I don't have on my table just yet is milk. For this, you may choose to use regular milk, skim milk, or you may choose to go for a vegan-friendly milk, such as almond milk or oat milk. Whichever you decide to use, this is going to be really important to help you to make a good consistency with your puree. For this, I'll be using 1 1/4 cups of milk to help to bring my pumpkin puree to life. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get this pumpkin into, which is just diced pumpkin, by the way, into a nice puree. Now, the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to pop it on the stove in some water. I'm going to boil it up so it's nice and soft and squishy, and then I'm going to zap it with the blender. Let's go. So right now I've got my saucepan full of water, and I'm popping my pumpkin pieces in there, let it boil and let it soften up so I'm ready to puree it with my mixer. Now that my pumpkin is bubbled up and it is nice and boiled, I'm going to turn off the stove, and it's time to drain the pumpkins of any excess water. We don't want our pumpkin puree to be too moist or too wet. We really want it to maintain some thickness and to hold its structure when we do put it in the oven. So I'm off to the sink to drain this out, and then we're ready for our next step. There we have all of our yummy goodness for our pumpkin pie. The next step is to blitz this with a food processor or even a blender, which I'm going to be using so we can make it nice and smooth. If you like it a little bit more lumpy in consistency, then you don't have to blend it so much, but I prefer my pumpkin pies to be a bit smooth. Here we've got the pumpkin puree, which is pureed up. Now you may notice I'm not actually using a crust. Now this is purely because I'm trying to keep the calories down for this pumpkin pie. However, you may choose to use a crust if you wish. You can even make your own homemade crust, or you can buy one from the shop. However, do bear in mind that if you are buying one from the shop, keep in mind the ingredients and also the calorie count as well. So we're going to go for a crustless pumpkin pie, which is low in calories and very few ingredients, and ultimately it'll taste just as good as any shop-bought pumpkin pie. Cool down, puree, cool down. I'm hungry. Now our pumpkin puree has cooled down sufficiently. It is time to mix up all the ingredients together. Now, if you're anything like me, convenience is key, and I really hate doing the washing up all the dishes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little hack, and I'm going to use the saucepan that is cooled down sufficiently to mix up all of my ingredients, and then I'm going to pop it into my pie dish over here, and we're going to pop it in the oven. So this is like a 1 bowl 5 ingredient, low calorie pumpkin pie special that's suitable for those who've got an egg allergy and vegan friendly as well. What more could you want? So inside my pumpkin puree, which as you can see here, will go my next ingredient, which is my milk. So you can use vegan friendly milk, or you can use low calorie milk. I'm going to be using skim milk because I want to keep those calories low. However, you can go for whichever option you prefer, and then pop this in and give it a mix. So we're going to just pour in 1 1/4 cup of milk. And this will help to keep it nice and liquidy, if you like. So I'm going to do a little bit at a time because it's really important to make sure you don't over wet it, otherwise it just won't come up looking very nice. So here we go, we're going to mix it up. As you can see, it's already looking pretty wet just with 1 cup. So I might just stick with 1 cup because I don't want to over liquefy my pumpkin puree. So there we have it, just 1 cup of milk. Give it a good mix around, as you can see. And just really make sure that you even out all those lumps and bumps. And it looks really pretty, actually. That colour is just gorgeous already. And you can obviously smoothen down your puree as much as you like. If you want a bit clumpy, like I said earlier, if you want it super smooth, that choice is yours because you're in charge of making your own dessert today. You don't have to buy it from the shop. So there we have it. That's a really nice consistency that we have for the pumpkin puree. All of the milk is well mixed into the pumpkin. I'm quite happy with that. The next step is to add in a bit of sweetener. So for this recipe, I'm going to be using some maple syrup. However, as I said before, you can use sugar. You can even try honey as well. Do bear in mind that honey is quite overwhelming, so you may not need as much honey as you would with maple syrup, as an example. So for this, I'm just going to be using just shy of 1/4 cup. So if you just look at our calorie count already just to date, so the pumpkin itself is just shy of 200 calories. The milk is just shy of about 100 calories, and this is coming in about 120 calories. So this is probably the more calorific content of all of the ingredients so far. So we'll try to keep this as little as possible so we keep our calorie count down and hopefully make it a little bit more healthier than store-bought pumpkin pie. Smells like pancakes. Oh, so nice. Okay, so just shy of 1/4 cup of maple syrup. And again, we're going to mix it around, make it nice and homogenized with the rest of our ingredients, so that everybody gets a little sweet kick when they're eating their pumpkin pie. Next up, we want to add our cinnamon, and this is going to give us that kick and a punch, and that kind of, when you're baking this, it's going to just smell like winter, it's going to smell like fall. It's just going to be gorgeous. I'm so excited for this. So 1 teaspoon of cinnamon going into my pumpkin pie mix. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And as you add in the cinnamon, you'll see that the colour does change. So it went from quite a bright yellow to a bit more of a browner yellow, but that is just because of the nature of cinnamon. It will make things a bit darker, but it smells glorious. I love that smell so much. And when it's cooking in your house, it'll be just so amazing. Our final ingredient is some cornstarch. Now, as we're not using eggs for this, we do need a compound that's going to stick our puree together, because if we were just to put it in the oven like this, it's just going to fall apart when we cut it. So we're using cornstarch, which is a nice alternative. I'm going to be using 1 tablespoon of this. And this will help to maintain the consistency of the pumpkin puree or pumpkin pie when it does come out of the oven. 1 tablespoon, you can see I'm really rough with this, but 1 tablespoon of cornstarch going in. And then we're going to mix it up as well until it's all dissolved away and it's all integrating into my pumpkin pie. Okay, so once that's all mixed in really nicely, you want to get your oven ready. And we're going to be using 180 degrees fan forced in my particular oven. And we'll be cooking this for about 40 minutes in total. So you'll start to notice when the smell comes through, you'll be so delighted. But certainly once you can put a skewer or a knife into your pumpkin pie and it comes out clean, then you know it's ready. All right, so the pie is essentially ready. So all we need to do is transfer it onto our pie tin or baking tray. And I'm just going to place the puree directly into the pie dish. Oh, look at that. And we're just going to scoop out all of the lovely, yummy ingredients so we don't miss any single drop, because we don't want to lose those lovely nutrients. There we have it. And it just smells so gorgeous already. Okay, so I'm just going to spread out the pumpkin pie puree onto my pie dish. So it looks nice and even, as you can see. There we go. Look at that perfection. And I didn't even have to spend too much money for doing this, and I know what ingredients. And the satisfying thing is that I've made this myself. I know exactly what ingredients are in here. There's no weird numbers, there's no preservatives, there's no artificial flavorings. It's all things that you can find in your pantry, in your kitchen. Really simple ingredients that will just taste exquisite once you cook them. So that's enough chatting. We need to get cooking. Just take a look at this. Can you not wait to eat this? Oh my gosh, I am so hungry already, but we're gonna have to wait for 40 minutes. So let's pop it in the oven. Cook well. Okay, I'm going to leave that to be for about 40 minutes, and I'm going to come out, and then once it's done, I'm going to poke my skewer or my knife inside and make sure it comes out nice and clean. Okay, we just have to wait. I wish you guys could smell this. It just smells delicious. It's the pumpkin, the cinnamon, it just smells gorgeous. I have actually put a knife through and it does look very clean. So it's time to take it out, let it cool, and then we're going to do a taste test, because that is ultimately what you all want to know, is how yummy it tastes.
We're ready for the taste test.
All right, so we better let it out and let it to cool, because you guys are not going to be eating this if it's so hot. It might burn your tongues. Look at this yummy pumpkin pie. Delicious. And the knife has come out nice and clean. And this is just so exciting, because it is time to have, well, not quite, but very shortly it'll be time to have some low-calorie, healthier pumpkin pie straight from the home.
Thank you.
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
Let's get it out onto the counter. Let it cool down. Well, my lovely friends, you can't eat this just yet. Unfortunately, we're going to have to let it cool down just a little bit. And then once it's cooled down, then we're going to have a slice each of this yummy, tasty pumpkin pie. Hey, hands off! Hands off! No, it's not ready yet.
Yummy cake.
Now we've allowed sufficient time for it to cool down. It is time to do the ultimate taste test. So I've got my cake cutter and I've got a small plate, and hopefully my testers are going to enjoy this treat as well as I. So let's check it out and cut this cake together. Well, it's really nice and firm, I have to say. It has held its consistency, which is good. So cutting it isn't like it's a sloppy mess. It actually feels quite firm, which is probably thanks to the corn flour. Now, of course, you can dress this up how you like, whether or not you want to just have it plain or with some, I don't know, ice cream or custard or whatever you want. But do remember that if you are adding extra ingredients to it, you are taking away from that lovely low calorie count we had for our pumpkin pie initially. There we go. Look at that. Lovely pumpkin pie without the crust. So let's pop it on my plate. Yes! Come on, little munchkin. Oh, let's just see how we go with this taste test. I've got my lovely little toddler. Are you excited for the cake?
Yes.
Okay, she's excited for the cake. Let's go. And I've also got my big adult toddler. Who wants to go first? You want to try it?
Yeah.
Is it tasty?
More?
Mm-hmm.
Taste it, Daddy. And Mummy.
Feels really light. It's nice.
You want more cake?
I want more.
Everyone wants more. Wow, that's a big mouth. All right, guys, so there you have it. That is my simple 5-ingredient, egg-free, vegan-friendly pumpkin pie without the crust. And I hope that you guys found this video useful and was packed with lovely nutrition and vitamins and so much yummy goodness that we're all just going to devour this together. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to drop me a line in the comment section below. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and stay healthy. More cake. You like it? You like the little cake?
Yeah.
More cake. Okay, toddlers, definitely. We're winning. Yummy, yummy. Are you giving them some too? Thank you so much. Thank you. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.